Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Libra. Alright, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Second to last week, full week, well it's the last full week of December, right? Getting close to New Year's, getting close to 2020. Check out your 2020 outlook. Your 2020 general reading outlook is linked, and your 2020 love outlook is linked as well. All right, guys. So let's get right into it, Libra. We're gonna pull out 3 of your romance angel messages, and then we're gonna pull out your animal spirits and get right into your reading. Straight out, we have retreat. Time to disconnect from the world, Libra. We have forgiving and learning. So this is a time to release and heal the past. And children are a factor in your love life or your relationships. The weeklies are general readings. However, I always pull romance angel messages just to get a sense of, you know, what their message for you this week is and what your intimate relationships might involve. Let's go ahead and get right into your animal spirits, Libra. Animal spirits they can come into form of energies that are being available to you, right? To get over a certain stage or circumstance in your life, right? They can indicate paths that you're about to enter into or stages you're about to enter into. They can also be representative of personality traits, right? Characteristics, etc. of people you may be dealing with, etc., you know? So let's get right into it. Pull out your animal spirit, Libra, and see what you may or may not be walking with this week. Now, of course, just take what applies to you. And, of course, not all of these messages or these readings can be for all Libras. So, we have the bee. Air energy, lovely air. Beautiful animal spirit. Another air energy, the dragonfly. Nice. And we also have the starfish, water energy, right? All right. So let's get right into it. So the bee. I love the bee animal spirit. This is an animal spirit that shows up a lot for my readings. The bee is the great Democrat, right? He or she is the one who has an enormous amount of energy, right? They're very industrious. They're very resourceful, very creative. The bee is concerned with everyone having their fair share, right? It's very democratic, you know. It's the great Democrat, the bee. Why do we notice? I mean, in nature, bees live in colonies, right? And so in colonies, every bee, rather, is valuable, right? And so in this way, the bee really is one of these lovely personalities that everyone likes to be around, because when the bee energy is at play, you know, it's the type of person who resonates with this. This is the type of person who makes everyone feel comfortable. He or she makes everyone feel valued, you know. This is the person who will go out of their way to make sure that, you know, the party is going okay, you know, that everyone at the party is enjoying themselves. Oftentimes, the bee is the person in the friend group who will help mediate any kind of disagreements, right? Because nobody ever is arguing with them. You know, everyone always loves to be around this personality, right? Very, very nice. Can also be reflective of someone who's quite the mediator. And certainly this is an energy, an animal spirit energy that's really much more to do with a personality trait. So you may be resonating with bee energy yourself, Libra, since you are also air, or you may be dealing with somebody who's resonating with bee energy. Everyone loves to be around them. Now, the dragonfly is also an air element, but the dragonfly is synonymous with the Lord of Illusion and the mind, right? Just like, you know, just like the mind, just like the dragonfly, so is the mind. It is elusive, it's shimmery. Sometimes we see things, they aren't quite exactly the way we see them. You know, it's very subjective, the things that we believe, the opinions that we have, and the perceptions that we have. And so sometimes the dragonfly just reminds us that not all of our perceptions or not everything that we see or taken is exactly the way we perceive it to be, right? The mind itself can be very changeable, right? Shifting, you know, ideas come and go, attitudes and thoughts come and go. And so in this way, the dragonfly just reminds us sometimes to remain a bit grounded, right? And to take sometimes the way we perceive a particular situation, to take it with a little bit of salt, a pinch of salt, right? Because we aren't always 100% right, about what we believe something to be, right? Now, the starfish is water energy, and the starfish is synonymous with someone who is absolutely sort of mesmerizing with their looks, right? They're very, very attractive. You know, people around them can't help but be drawn to them, right? Now, I did have a comment from somebody where they said, you know, they could never be a starfish because starfish uses their looks to manipulate people. That's not the case at all. That's not at all what I'm saying here. The starfish doesn't necessarily try to manipulate anyone. They just happen to be very beautiful and attractive. And so they, you know, they attract a lot of people. They get a lot of attention. Now, the starfish may rely on that quality rather than digging deeper, than searching for a deeper sort of talent that they have, which all starfish have. This is not to say that somebody who resonates with this energy is necessarily a manipulator at all. In fact, the one thing that the starfish is guilty of is that someone who resonates with this energy oftentimes does themselves a disservice by not looking deeper into their own sort of talents and hidden treasures and bringing that out into the world, and only sort of relying on what they achieve through sort of their exterior. But this is not to say that this is a manipulator at all. All right, let's get right into your spreads now. We're going to pull out anywhere from 3 to 4 or 4 to 6 spreads with three card spreads, excuse me, to look into what you may or may not be going through this week, my lovely Libras. And again, just take what applies to you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. You know, not all readings can be for all Libras. All right, my lovelies. Let's just see. Get right into your first spread. Straight out, we have Ace of Swords, Clarity, Knight of Pentacles, and the Hanged Man. Wow. Okay, so Ace of Swords talks about clarity coming in, right? So some of you Libras right now, you're feeling very sort of clear-headed. You may have been working on a particular project or area in your life where you've been trying to come up with a solution to a very specific problem. But most recently, or at least this week, you come into the week with the solution. You know, it's like the light bulb has turned on. The answers are coming in. You're feeling very, very clear-headed. This is a lovely sort of attitude to have towards this week, certainly the penultimate week of 2019. It's a feeling of really coming out of the clouds into the clear, right? Information is becoming available to you, and it feels like a vindication in a lot of ways, right, Libra? So you're coming into the week with this energy, and you're met with the Knight of Pentacles. So someone, I'm going to say either, for instance, I'm going to say either this is someone coming into your purview, but more than anything, I think this is more you, Libra, right? This solution has come in, and I think this is a solution to do with your career or your business, and it set you off on your objective, right? I think for quite some time, you may have been unable to progress forward. You may have been unable to move in a certain direction because you didn't have the solution that you needed. Now that you have the solution, you resonate with this Knight of Pentacles energy this week. This is what you're met with. And it feels very much like you're finally sort of out of the stopping blocks, right? You're finally out of the gate. You're able to progress forward. And I think you really won't be stopped. This is something you've been trying to set in motion for quite some time. And I say this because you round the week off with Hangman energy, and the Hangman is all about awakening. Oftentimes, this is one of the most misinterpreted cards that I see in readings. It's not anything to do with stuck energy or being stuck. In fact, the Hangman is all about having a really huge awakening and understanding coming in. Oftentimes the Hanged Man, you can see that the halo is representative of the radiance of sort of enlightenment and awareness and understanding. And I think what happens is by the end of the week, as you come through this process, you realize and you're awakened to a particular sort of area in your career or business that perhaps before you weren't really inspired to pay attention to, or you weren't inspired by, or you weren't aware of. The hangman wakes up when he's inspired. All right. This is why he's nothing to do with being stuck. It's more or less that oftentimes before this awakening, you can be in this sort of hanging state because you just don't feel like moving. You know, nothing has sort of made you want to move, or nothing has inspired you enough to make you want to move. And so now inspiration comes in, awakening comes in. And I think in some area of your career, Libra, certainly career or business, material endeavors, you are realizing a whole new path. And this is all started with the Ace of Swords. Could be a new sort of career track that you're taking. Could be a whole new sort of business that you're interested in. But whatever it is, you're feeling very inspired by it. And you won't be stopped until you reach your destination. Certainly now that you've had the solution to whatever problem or obstacle was in the way of this path, you absolutely will not be stopped. Five of Wands, Six of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. Five of Wands is a power struggle. All the 5 cards are power struggles. And with Five of Wands, we have a power struggle over sort of who's the best, right? It's a competitive nature power struggle. Everyone's vying. There's a lot of bickering and arguing, debating, and who should be on top, who has a better idea. This is a power struggle of sort of passions, right? And you come into it this week, right? And it could be that you've been dealing with this struggle for quite some time. You've been dealing with this power dynamic certainly for a while. But this week you're met with a Six of Wands, which is a victory. And whatever has come through, again, inspiration, I think, or understanding has come through in some kind of way. I want to say for some of you, this victory has been in the making. It's probably been in the works, right? And you've been kind of dealing with this power struggle here, probably in the back of your mind, realizing that this victory is about to come through. But strangely enough, Libra, you do round the week off with a Nine of Swords. And I wonder what that's all about, because the Nine of Swords is a little bit of guilt, right? It can be regret, it can be anxiety about the way you handled a certain situation. Libra, you know, some of my best friends have always been Libras. Because I'm Sagittarius, so we get along very, very well. So a lot of them have been Libras, even double Libras, Libra Sun, Libra Rising. But it's interesting that you would regret. You generally, I want to say that Libra, you generally are a very fair individual, but something about this win has you feeling anxious, okay? And I'm not going to say that you won, because the Six of Wands is a legitimate victory, right? It's not a Five of Swords. It's not a hollow victory. It's a legitimate victory and something that you feel strongly about. But something about this dynamic has you vexed, has you sitting up at night, has you having a little bit of sleepless nights. And it could be that somewhere along the line you feel a little bit of guilt, or you feel a little bit of anxiety about how this victory is going to impact someone that you really care about or someone that you love. Could very well be that, you know, this battle may have been a battle between someone that you're actually quite close with, but that you have a healthy competition with. And now that you've won, you feel bad about it a little bit, right? It could be that the person that you've beat, per se, in this battle, as it were, it could be that you feel bad about their consequences that they're facing, right? If this is something to do with work, or, you know, in some way, this victory has you kind of worried about it, right? And I'm going to say, Nine of Swords is a kind of misery that we put on ourselves, Libra. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with reality. And I'm going to say, for some of you, you're worrying simply because you care too much. All right, you care about the people who are involved. The victory, of course, is yours, and it's yours. You know, you deserve it, right? The Six of Wands is a victory you deserve, but try not to feel too badly or too regretful about what has happened, because You know, you may be feeling some guilt or some anxiety about it, but that's just the way you're feeling. On the ground, things could be very different. And I'm going to say probably next week, things will turn out to be a little bit different than the way you had imagined it, or perhaps the worst that you imagined. Remember, dragonfly energy is at play. And what I said earlier about the dragonfly is that sometimes we perceive situations or scenarios or events in our lives to be one way, but we're not always 100% right. We have to take our own judgment with a pinch of salt sometimes, right? And it could be very well that you're seeing a particular situation only from your point of view, and you're not, you know, and you're worried about it, right? But things will become clear, I think, soon, perhaps next week or the week after, will become clear that there's not any reason for you to have to worry that much, right? You may want to retreat, right? But in any case, things will sort of iron themselves out, and try not to have too much anxiety over it. Hermit energy, 7 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. All right, so the Hermit, associated with Virgo energy, you come into this week, you've been really sort of solitary, right? I'm going to say, and for a lot of you, you're retreating, or you're wanting to retreat, right? You're wanting to pull away, take some time off for yourself, just pull away from the rest of the world. It's just been too much. And so you're very strongly going into your Hermit energy right now. You're coming into the week with this sort of vibe, right? This solitary vibe. You don't want to be bothered. You know, you have a lot to think about right now, and you met with the 7 of Pentacles, and interestingly enough, in addition to this feeling of wanting to pull away, you're also feeling very contemplative about your life work, right? Your life's work, you know, what you have achieved for yourself. 7 of Pentacles, 7 is the number for hopes and dreams and wishes, and 7 of Pentacles, here we see your rewards beginning to come in for your hard work, right? But it's also the aspect that now that the rewards are coming in, you're able to see them for what they are. You're able to sort of really determine if they are what you wanted in the first place. Is this what you wanted in the first place? Is this the garden, the type of garden that you wanted, you know? And you're very sort of contemplative about all of this week. You're really in your head. You're thinking a lot. Take care. Dragonfly energy is at play. Take care not to be too much in your head. You do round the week off with a 10 of Pentacles. And I think that just as you've begun to sort of, you know, reevaluate and sort of say, you know, is this the life I want? Is this really what I want to do? You've really started to pull away. I think by the end of the week, probably through seeing your friends and family, perhaps through the holiday time, you're being forced to kind of come out of your shell a little bit. You round off the week with the 10 of Pentacles. And I think that in a lot of ways what happens is by the end of the week, you do see a lot of your blessings. You do see a lot of the rewards beyond just the financial rewards you've reaped. And I think you do find a real sense of happiness and sort of completion there. You know, not all rewards are financial. 10 of Pentacles talks about rewards with regard to having a happy home life, having a happy love union, having happy children. There is also the wealth of love and companionship and family, right? These are forms of wealth as well. These are forms of reward as well. And these are the types of sort of richness, right, that completes us and brings us to the 10 of Pentacles. And so I think for a lot of you, although you may be starting off the week very sort of, you know, melancholy perhaps, you know, and a little bit of a malaise about your life right now. Maybe it's a little bit of the pre-Christmas blues, you know. By the end of the week, you remember everything that you have to be happy for, and it works out very nicely for you. 5 of Swords, there's your 5 of Swords I was talking about earlier. 8 of Wands and the 3 of Wands. All right, this is going to be your last spread, my lovely Libras. 5 of Swords, exactly what I meant earlier. You remember I was saying that your victory was one that you deserved. Now, the 5 of Swords talks about defeat. It is the card for defeat. It's also the card for a hollow victory, right? This person holding the swords doesn't play by the rules. They're very sort of underhanded, their tactics. The other swordsmen have thrown their swords down in disgust. They don't even want to engage with this person, right? And this is the defeat. The defeat is throwing up your hands and saying, look, you win. You know, the only way I can sort of engage you is if I lower myself to your tactics, right? When you deal with somebody who's a cheater, you have to kind of cheat to sort of combat that, right? Or you throw your hands up and you say, you know what, I'm not even going to engage you. And this is what you decide to do. This is the feeling that you have. You're coming into this week with a feeling of wanting to retreat from a particular battle that really is beneath you. Even maybe a sense of forgiving and learning as you know, because it's like you're taking the high road. You're allowing them to have this hollow victory, you know. And so in a way that is kind of a learning process, can also be a forgiving process for yourself. Sometimes we forgive ourselves, say, look, you know, we don't have to engage in every sort of battle to prove something, right? I know who I am, and I don't have to battle with people who have these type of baser sort of behavior patterns to know that, right? So you take the high road and you leave this sort of power struggle, and you're met with the Eight of Wands. This is a lot of information suddenly begins to come into you. 8 is the number for boundaries. It's the number for strength, right? Major Arcana 8 is the strength card. 8 of Wands, we talk about a need to put boundaries in place because everybody wants to give you their 2 cents. Everybody wants to say something. You're getting a lot of... This is also my viral card. This can happen sometimes when you're an artist and you go viral, you know. But here I think what happens is that you're dealing with a really sort of dynamic situation where everybody has been putting their 2 cents in. Everybody's been kind of egging you on, I believe. And I think part of what they've been sort of pushing you toward is this power dynamic, you know. So not only do you deal with this power dynamic, so you come into the, for some of you who are resonating with this, you're coming into the week and saying, look, I'm not interested in this anymore. I throw my hands up. You win. I'm going to take the high road. And you're met right away with the Ace of Wands. And you deal with this too. Because this is also a case of sort of saying, look, everybody back up. You know, I have boundaries and you're overstepping them. And now that I've dealt with this, now I'm going to deal with you. And you round off your week with a 3 of Wands. It almost feels like you're cleaning house, Libra. A lot of you are cleaning house. This is a pre-New Year's sort of event, I feel. You are extracting yourself from bullshit dynamic arguments, you know, bullshit power struggles, and you are also laying the groundwork for boundaries where you should have been laying the ground, been enforcing your boundaries, but, you know, it's never too late, right? And by the end of the week, you're taking a good look at the lay of the land for your life, and you're having some patience. You're waiting before you make your next move, because this has been a real sort of clearing out for you of negative energy before the year ends. I'm going to do one more. Tower, 10 of Cups, and a 2 of Cups. And that's why I did it. It called to me. This week you have a Tower moment, Libra. Huge Tower moment in love, right? Something's happened. Something's happened. There's been perhaps a forgiving process has happened. Could be that you find out that you're having children as well. Something major has happened in a dynamic, in a love dynamic, and you guys come back together with 10 of Cups. And I'm going to say this is definitely a feeling of forgiving and learning, perhaps somewhere where you guys were on the outs or where this dynamic fell apart. Huge sort of Tower moment has happened. If it hasn't already happened, it'll happen at the beginning of the week, and it serves to bring you right back together with this union. I think for some of you, you get back together with someone you might have even been married with, because it feels like you are maybe renewing your vows with this 2 of Cups. You round the week off with a 2 of Cups. And it could also be that you come back together because you find out that you're pregnant, right? The 2 of you have become pregnant, the couple, as it were, right? And so whatever broke you guys apart or whatever was in the past, this Tower moment, in fact, has been a catalyst to bring you right back together. It's a beautiful completion. And I think very much a renewal of your sort of commitment to each other here. Very, very nice indeed. Very strong. All right, Libra, this is your reading, December 22nd to the 28th. I do hope it resonated with you. If you are a regular on my channel, please remember, just for the next couple days, to keep your notifications on so that if I announce you as the winner of the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, you will find out about it and you will contact me with your address. Then you can go ahead and take the notifications off if you want. I know what it's like when everybody's always telling you to subscribe and hit the bell. You know what? If you feel like it, do it. If you don't feel like it, that's fine too. All right, guys. But for right now, I'm just gonna say, if you did like this video, you can subscribe to my channel. You can leave me a comment. But for right now, Libra, I shall see you next week for the final weekly reading of 2019. Bye-bye, guys.